Hello everyone, this is Suzanne and God Crochet and Chatter. Welcome back. I'd like to say welcome to the new subscribers and thank you to my regular subscribers for tuning in every day to further our studies of the Bible. We are going through the Bible in a year and anyone can jump in at any time. Alright, first of all, let's get our trivia question done. Yesterday's was, what were Horeb and Nebo? And you were right when you said mountains. I just had a brain freeze on that one. I didn't get that one right at all. Alright, today's question. To whom was the following said? When thou shalt be old, another shall gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. Okay, who said that? Okay, I'll give you a hint. You'll find the answer in John 21:18. All right, today we read 2 Samuel chapters 13 through 15. Tomorrow, chapters 16 through 18. Well, it's taken me a little bit to get caught up with everything since I got home from the hospital. I started realizing how tired I've been. In fact, I took a 2-hour nap today because I was just so tired and I didn't sleep well last night, but I'm starting to feel a little bit more refreshed and I am going to pick up my crochet hook tonight. I'm going to get that pop holder done again, kind of get back in the saddle again from everything that's been going on. All right, let's get to our great study today. As we know, David repents of everything he did, but God punishes him with wars, betrayal, rebellions, and national upheaval. David remains king over Israel. Well, David and Bathsheba have another son, and his name is Solomon. And God sends word by the hand of Nathan the prophet, so he called him Jedediah. And Jedediah means friend of God. Isn't that wonderful to think as being your name meaning a friend of God? Wow. Suzanne, friend of God. Cheryl, friend of God. Joanne, friend of God. Apple Pecan, because you are a friend of God. Dorothy, because you are a friend of God. And everyone else. Oh, it is indeed a wonderful place to be in your life. Well, Ammon was in great distress over his sister Tamar. Now, Jonadab gives Ammon an evil plan. He was a very evil man. He told him to feign sickness, pretend that he was sick, and so he went, and David believed the lie that Ammon said. And Tamar, she begs him not to do this evil thing. Don't do it, don't do it. Well, he was so sick about her at heart and so in love with her, he had lost a lot of weight. And it was a disgraceful thing that he did. He rapes her, then he hates her. Isn't that true? People do evil against us and then they don't like us when we didn't do anything. He hated her more than he loved her. He had a great love for her, but I think he was really sick over what he did. And every time he looked at her, he was reminded of it. And then he kind of goes on with his life, drinking wine and thinking, okay, everything's cool. While Tamar is living in disgrace. Well, David was outraged when he heard this. Well, Absalom murders Haman. Okay, let's wrap this up in a real nice tidy bow. The Bible has some strong things to say about a son's relationship with his parents and a daughter's relationship with her parents. So, as we're growing up, in the Bible, we're instructed as parents how to treat our children, and instructions are given to children how to honor and respect their parents. Now, when this blend happens, it's a wonderful, joyful thing. But there are a lot of dysfunctional families in today's world, and sadly, sons are against fathers, daughters against mothers, and it's a sad, sad state of affairs when this happens within families and causes much dysfunction. Rebellion against parents is filled with agony, pain, and hurt, not just for your parents. They will hurt with excruciating pain, but it will hurt the rebellious child in the end. You may not be hung by your hair from a tree, although it may be tempting at times to do that with our kids. You cannot prosper and rebel against your parents. It's not possible. Now, I've spoke before of I have a couple of children that are rebellious, and they say all manner of unkind things against me and other family members, and they're the ones that are sitting, their life is in turmoil. Their heart is hurting. They got that God-sized hole in their heart, and nothing will fill that but God. But they won't let God in, or they won't let us back into their lives. We will love them unconditionally. We may not accept what they're doing in their lives, all the evilness and the hate they're spreading around, but I yearn after my kids. David yearned in his heart after his kids to make better choices, and it hurt him deeply. And because of David's sin, it brought for generations sins throughout David's family. And God is coming after us. Okay? When we sin, when we go astray, God isn't going to let up. He loved us first. And God is after my son. God is after my one strayed daughter. And I have to let it go. I love them. I want them to change. But the ball is in their court. But yet, I cry out in my heart like David did for his children. Even through all the bad things they were doing, we want them to know the love is unconditional. It's unconditional. We love you. No matter what you do, you're never going to rip that love out of my heart. And we have choices to make, and God gives each one of us those choices. Well, sin has two sons. One is death, the other is sorrow. David sinned, it was forgiven, God restored him, took away the guilt. But he went through the process, he set in motion a change of events. The death of a baby, the death of a woman's purity, death of Ammon and Absalom. In the midst of all those deaths, sorrow upon sorrow. You cannot win disobeying God. We do not want to go down those roads that God has said, do not taste, do not touch. It is too costly of a journey. I can no longer afford that cost in my life. David could no longer afford that type of cost on his journey either. And it's good to know that we have a loving God. Things that I have done in my life that I deeply regret, as I've told you before, I take great comfort that God has forgiven me, but there's that trickle-down effect. You throw the stone in the water, and it has that rippling effect outward, sometimes for generations. And unless someone steps up to the plate and changes that course and starts the healing process in the families, that is when things can get turned around and the family becomes stronger and better because of it, because better choices are being made, the lessons are being learned. I want to read to you Joshua 24:15. Excuse me. And if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And that was said by Joshua when he was telling the children of Israel, you got to choose this day who you're going to serve. You're going to serve all the false gods and go down that wayward road, or are you going to choose to serve God? I have little, I think they call them acronyms. It's where it's a word and each letter reads out something. One of my favorites is faith, F-A-I-T-H. Forwarding all issues to heaven. Isn't that great? Faith. Forwarding all issues to heaven. Now, if we do that step in our lives, before we make a decision, before we walk out the door, as we wake up, we pray about whatever's going on. We study. We go to the scriptures for our guidance for each and every day, each and every second of our lives. It's going to keep you in line with God. It's going to make God extremely happy and joyful over you, and He will pour blessings upon you that you can never have a big enough cup to receive it all. That's how much God loves us when we're following His word and loving Him. Now, there are 3 keys on your typing board, your typewriter, and, well, I guess today it would be on our iPads and stuff. Original typewriters didn't have it, but you notice there is a Control-Alt-Delete button. Now, if we put this into practice, C, control. Control yourself. When you see something and you think nobody's looking, or you think certain thoughts, you need to control yourself, rein yourself back in, daily transform your thinking every day toward the goodness of God and His teachings. You're taking that step toward healing those scars and moving forward in a great way. Alt, look for alternative solutions. All is not lost. Whatever comes up, there's always an alternative solution to grab onto and run toward. It doesn't have to turn out bad. Delete. Delete the situations that give you tension. If you start getting anxious, what does the Bible say? Be anxious in nothing, but by prayer and supplication, let your requests be known unto God. Yeah. And if we delete those situations that bring us stress into our lives, with people that talk a lot but say nothing, that drives me crazy. Like, wow, you said a whole lot of nothing right there. It had no substance, no nothing, and it went nowhere. No, delete. And we have that. We have the Control-Alt-Delete at our disposal in our lives every day. So if we can put these things into practice and know that even as David and other people in the Bible, how they got themselves into situations where, yes, there was a consequence to be paid, but it wasn't not an eternal punishment. And sometimes those scars are left there to remind us not to take the road that leads us backwards. We're not going that way. We're moving forward. All right, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed today's devotional. Tomorrow, read chapter 16 through 18. I am so enjoying visiting with you again every day. And I am getting my strength back. I'm feeling better. Tomorrow, I'm going to slowly work on my laundry to get it caught up. It's amazing how much laundry I got being 2 weeks in the hospital. I quite haven't figured that one out yet, but doesn't laundry pile up like, whew, how did that happen? All right, everyone. This is Suzanne at Guide Crochet and Chatter. I will be back on tomorrow, Lord willing, and I will show you my beautiful scallop pot holder that I got finished. All right, everyone. You take care. You have a blessed evening, and let those scars in life lift you up to higher ground. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.